Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon podcast. Chase Parham and Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio. Today, we're going to talk some attendance, we're going to talk some tickets, we're going to talk some Big Ten football, and more coming up on the show as we're here with you for the next little bit. We got Nationals and Rays, it looks like, on the hung TV up top, a little higher than we used to. We mentioned it yesterday. So, anyway, we'll be with you here for a bit on the show brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. To use the Speed Pass Plus app. There you can take advantage of the ability to pay right there on the pump. You can use the app. You don't have to go inside. You can get done pretty quickly. On the live stream, I look like I'm really looking high when I look up at the TV. I need to just use my eyes, not my whole head, because
it'd be okay.
It looks like I'm staring at the ceiling and the stars and stuff.
We're not winning an Emmy anyway.
You never know.
Well, that's true.
Probably not, but you never know. So anyway, that on the Oxford Exxon show, $5.69 lunch specials every single day, 2 sides of bread, 32-ounce drinks, and more. So stop by, check it out, and again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number, ask for Corey Clark, tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line, no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around, or you can let Corey and the people at Clark Ford take care of you. That's what they've done for me, what they've done for my family as well. 662-257-1900 is the number, and when you call it, you'll find out why Corey always says he wants to be your car guy, he wants to be your truck guy. 662-257-1900. Guest will join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters on the Water is open. Today's Wednesday, so yeah, it's open today, 3:30 to 10. Same tomorrow, and then this weekend, 11 a.m. to 10. Rafters on the Square is open, and Rafters in New Albany is open as well. Hudson Chadwick and all the people at Rafters want to see you. They want to take great care of you. Go in. I guess NFL football's tomorrow. The NBA conference finals start on Friday, and then there's a weekend full of college and professional football. Despite the best efforts of a handful of people in the media, football continues to happen, and you can watch it at Rafters. We'd appreciate that. Drink specials, food specials, and more. So all of that at Rafters, music and food on the Square in Oxford.
Money won out.
Is that what it is?
Well, I mean, we talked about this for a while. That,
wealth over health.
Well, yeah. Well, back in the day when we said, "Hey, what's going to happen?" and we had some dark days. We wondered what would come of a lot of different things. I kind of always came back to that. I said, at the end of the day, I'm just going to follow the money, and a lot of times that's probably how things are going to shake out in the world. And sure enough, that's one way to put it. Again, I mean, everybody else seems to be handling it okay. Big Ten jumps back in. Have we still? Maybe I've been on the phone a lot today. Has the Pac-12 still said anything? Where are they?
They are. I've been writing and/or podcasting and/or Zooming all day, so I'm a little behind actually.
You got a Zoom today too?
Yeah, Ole Miss had media out today. Yeah. There's a story up at rebelgrove.com. Dennis Jackson, Braylon Sanders talking about the offense, but the receivers eager for an opportunity at redemption a little bit, eager to prove that there's more to the receiver room than just Elijah Moore. We also talked to Tariqius Tisdale. To be honest with you, I don't really remember what he said. At some point, I'll transcribe that and get it to you, but I don't recall it being particularly profound. Dennis was good. Braylon was pretty good. Dennis was interesting. So we did that. Had a Zoom call. Zach Berry and I taped a Soft Verbal podcast presented by Dead Soxy. That's up where you get your podcast. It's also up at rebelgrove.com. We didn't. I probably tweaked some people a little.
Today?
A little. I was very honest. We talked about in-state recruiting and does it matter?
Okay.
Basically. So the headline is not in parentheses, Mississippi made.
Clever.
Sometimes you just...
Inspiration hits.
Sometimes you just kind of jab, So that's there. And mailbag's up also, brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors. All of that's up on the site. So a lot of material there for you. To answer your question, the Pac-12 as of now, I think they're still saying they're going to start mid to late November, which makes no sense.
That means no playoff.
Right. The Big Ten, meanwhile,
maybe they're playing chess. They're both playing checkers. They'll have those TV windows all to themselves.
well, they will have that. They will
be the only game in town.
They will have that. I don't know that anyone watches Washington, Arizona State on January the 20th. Maybe they do.
In the middle of the football playoffs? I mean, NFL playoffs?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Maybe they do. I don't want to rule anything out, but I have to believe that they don't. I mean, I like football a lot. I don't know that I'm watching that game in January unless it just happens to stumble across my TV. It won't be appointment viewing, I can tell you that. Would it be for you? Would you plan your day around UCLA, Cal on February the 3rd?
No. My only football at that point will be either nervous or pissed off NFL related, and that's it. I mean, that's all.
You're watching NFL playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not college at that point.
If you watch college games in January, they have to have meaning, playoff meaning. Otherwise, you don't watch them. Reality. Doesn't feel right.
So the Big Ten, the news of the day, again, we knew they were going to start back. The Nebraska president told us that yesterday. Comes out that they are going to start their season the weekend of October 24th, so still a little ways away. And exactly as predicted, this from Adam Rittenberg and Heather Dinich, considering new medical information and testing possibilities presented to them this past weekend. There's a lot of paragraphs about how resources around COVID-19 improved significantly, especially the availability of rapid testing programs. They had some outbreaks over the summer. Feel like they can contain those as they move forward. Also, more comprehensive screening for those who test positive and more. So yeah, a lot of stuff there for reasons for their jumping into the fold. Said the return to play conversations began in earnest on Saturday with a medical presentation by a steering committee comprised of 8 presidents and chancellors. Group served as a buffer. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, yeah, October 24th. That's where we're going with this. So,
Christine Brennan today.
I did not read it. I saw the headline and decided I could not waste the 5 minutes that it took for that.
Note the date. She says.
Are you reading the lead or the headline? You're reading the lead. Okay.
Note the date. 9/16/20. The day the vaunted Big Ten became the SEC. It choked. It got scared. It sold its soul for football. Let's have a moment of silence for the Big Ten soul. Everyone in the live stream, just give it a second. Okay.
You knew that article was coming. She's been getting ready for that one for a couple weeks now. You knew that one was coming.
I mean,
that was the exception to the water toting.
See, here's the thing. God dang it. I worked in a newsroom for a long time. There are editors in newsrooms. Is there no one who can say to Christine Brennan, number one, are you nuts? And number two, this isn't a great look? Or is she so vaunted as a voice of logic and reason and whatever that she can just write what she wants?
Or they knew it would get page impressions out the ass today.
And I get that. But at the end of the day, does anybody ever come back? You can get overly click happy.
I think, look, I mean, if I'm an editor, I go, okay, what are we trying to accomplish here? Tell me, you're going to have to really sell me on this one, and you're not going to be able to. But it's a little different for a national publication than it would be a local one, because you got other columnists, you got other opinions, you got other voices, where it's one voice for a very large media organization. You know what I mean? Like, it's not... I don't know if there's as much, hey, I'm going to drop the USA Today or Gannett or whatever over an opinion or a person or whatever, versus if it was, I mean, just pick the columnist at the Commercial Appeal or the Clarion Ledger or the Daily Journal, where it's, hey, that son of a, I'm no longer getting this on my doorstep in the morning. So I think you can get away with the more click-happy journalism and opinion pieces at the large publications because it's not one person and it's such a bigger conglomerate for that. And here's the thing too, from a strategy standpoint, if you want to give credit for this, if you think there's any intelligence behind it, it's the one dissenting opinion that we've seen, because everybody else has pretty much written the same story of talking about improved testing, patience, playing, all this kind of stuff. It's the only story we've seen to this point that's had a lot more teeth as far as anything other than that. Everything else bleeds together. If nothing else, she's out there on the side by herself. And I do think there's probably some relevance to that in today's media environment. Now, here's the thing. It's not like the SEC people were going, oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, she was just hating football in general. So it is what it is.
But the Big Ten is a league that has been rocked by scandal.
Oh.
Jerry Sandusky, Michigan State.
Yeah, that's what I was.
This is the darkest day?
That they decided to play football today.
That they decided that, hey, like everybody else who's playing football, we've decided to play football too. That is the darkest day. And the reason, Chase, that I think Christine Brennan is as worked up as she is because guess who's not worked up?
Who's not worked up today?
Donald Trump is not worked up. Donald Trump's not worked up. Donald Trump's pretty excited. Donald Trump's taking a victory dance. He's claiming some credit for this. I'm searching for the actual tweet that I'm referencing. Believe it or not, I don't follow him on Twitter. He says, I'm not sure I can even find it. Yep, great news. Big Ten football is back. All teams to participate. Thank you to the players, coaches, parents, and all school representatives. Have a fantastic season. It is my great honor to have helped.
What's been the media reaction to that?
Mostly just platitudes and goodness. No, it's anger. They're like, oh, no, you don't get credit. Look, Pat Forty wrote a column. Pat Forty of USA Today, or whoever the hell he works for now, SI. He wrote a column that said, hey, football's probably not going to happen. College football's probably not going to happen, and it's all Donald Trump's fault. Here we are today, September the 16th, 2020, a year that will live in infamy. They're playing football. Most states are playing high school football. Most conferences are playing football. Some have already started. A lot of them get started this weekend. The ACC plays weekend number 2 this weekend coming up, most of them. The SEC, as of today, 10 days away from starting. Less than 10 days from right now. Ole Miss will be entertaining Florida. Auburn will be playing Kentucky on the Plains. 2 SEC games will be on screens. Big 12 will be playing. ACC will be playing. The American will be playing. The Sun Belt will be playing. The NFL will be inside of week 3. Here's my question. It's a little bit hyperbolic. I was going to write this in a column, probably still will, because I want to make sure that some people see it. If it was Donald Trump's fault when they didn't play, is it Trump's credit that they do? And I know the answer to that is that's ridiculous. And my point is, it's no more ridiculous than that statement was a month ago or 2 months ago.
Yeah, he can't be wrong both ways, is the point. You know what I mean? It can't be, oh, it's in spite of you. I mean, well, of course. I mean, look, there was going to be a hyperbolic nature to this. He was going to take credit for it, and that was going to be ridiculous, just as ridiculous as the columns were. Those were all the truths as this thing all the way around. There's no doubt. And frankly, it's, I mean, in a lot of ways, him hitching his wagon to that's not the worst political move in the world.
Well, no, the Big Ten is involved in some states that matter. Wisconsin matters in this race.
Yeah, the Rust Belt's pretty important right now.
Michigan matters. Minnesota potentially matters. Pennsylvania absolutely matters. Those are states that he has to win. Those are states that he won in 2016. You think it has any impact at all on the election?
No.
I really don't either.
No. I don't. I mean, no. It doesn't hurt him. I mean, I will say this. Incumbent presidents need status quo, need happy, need anything positive. The Big Ten playing football and diehard football fans in the Big Ten getting to watch football could lead to more votes for Donald Trump. I do believe that is true. Irritation and upheaval in general is not good for incumbents. So every positive you can put that feels normal or happy is something at least potentially factors into the decision. Maybe not directly, maybe not even something that's major, but yeah, it's there. I do think that matters.
The Big Ten now, this is from Ross Dellinger. Some of the stuff that they have put in makes me wonder if a lot of people inside, or several people inside that league, are still kicking and screaming all the way to the
Really?
kickoff. So the Big Ten doesn't have a built-in bye week, has a 21-day suspension of play for players testing positive.
21?
21.
Okay.
And has a shutdown threshold of 5% positivity rate on a team.
Okay.
Our friend Gabe DeArmond talked to someone at Iowa. He says, one of my admin friends at Iowa says he thinks someone in the meeting basically said, I'm going to make this impossible, and that's the only way I will agree to move forward.
Meaning protocols that do not allow it to proceed.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you this. My daughter, Campbell, who goes to the University of Arkansas, just sent a note from the provost there that they're going to start allowing some on-campus gatherings, groups, clubs, and stuff. They banned those.
Okay.
The numbers are going down. I hate to break it to a lot of the people out there, but a lot of America is COVIDed out. They're done. A lot of people are just done. They're not going to keep doing this. People are ready to get back to life. If you ask the average person, are you comfortable going to a football game? Yes. Are you comfortable going to a restaurant? Yes. Mississippi raised its
75% capacity.
Yeah, capacity was the word I was looking for.
Individual tables statewide from 6 to 10. Oxford stayed at 6. Oxford went to 75% capacity.
People are getting more comfortable getting out. By the way, thanks to Will Burns. He says, love the new zoomed-in look. Provides us an up-close and personal look at the beauty and grace. Beauty and grace. That is Neil H. McCready and A. Chase Parham.
Got my name right. Did not miss yours. I am, in fact, A. Chase.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you are.
Yeah.
A. Chase.
Yeah.
I am not Neil H.
Yeah, pro tip for anybody out there. Well, I don't know if our buddy Ryan is in the thread, but when you have children, name them whatever they're called on their first name.
Yes.
That is one little one that I will say is a middle name kid.
I'm the same way. I've
first name. Oh yeah, you are Michael.
Dealt with
Neil,
that my whole
Neil
life.
Michael. That's right.
Yeah,
you get into class and it's this, and it's like, well, actually, no. It's just you're just constantly having to explain it. Even when it says, like today, I filled out something for something we're working on later, and it said, hey, put in your legal name, and I went, I probably got to put my actual first name in here, like this is a thing. So I was doing that. Yeah, just a little pro tip.
That's a pro tip. One I agree with completely. Rebel fans, Ole Miss Hoops will be here soon. Don't miss 1 minute of the action. In fact, there's some news expected from the NCAA
Saw this.
later today about college basketball. So we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show as well. Don't miss 1 minute of the action. Renew or purchase your 2021 season tickets for Ole Miss men's and women's basketball by visiting OleMissTix.com. That's OleMissTix.com. We're also brought to you by Jupiter Security Systems, who have been big time helpful to us over the past few days.
Good God.
I mean, let me get off the script a minute. If you need computer help, and we have, I really recommend Jupiter Security Systems. Keeping it real.
Oh, I mean,
We're screwed without Jupiter Security Systems.
that might be what that I should say.
Let me just tell you that. You need some help? Get in touch with Eric. I've bothered Eric a lot today, and he's been incredibly helpful. 601-519-9583 or email info at jupitersecurity.net. You can visit them at jupitersecurity.net on the internet. They offer a lot of stuff. I mean, I can sit here and read all of this stuff right now, but they're going to be with us for a while, so I'm not going to read it all. But they're basically a help desk for you, your company. They can get access to your computer. They don't see what's on your computer. They don't look at your stuff, but they can protect your computer from malware, from malicious applications getting installed. And then if you are having an issue, they can guide you through it. I've had issues. They've guided me through it. So jupitersecurity.net, highly recommended by us. Picks will be up tomorrow. They're brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, the College Corner is next to Fleet Feet, and in Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, not a problem. You can visit the College Corner at collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. Whether you're tailgating in Oxford or home gating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day. They have the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. And through the month of October, mention Rebel Grove at checkout. You'll get 15% off your entire purchase. You can also visit them online. Just put Rebel Grove in the coupon tab at checkout.
Podcast also brought to you by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting. Understands your market, a leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE, communitymtg.com. We'll talk about tickets a little bit today.
Oh, yeah, we didn't do that yesterday.
I do have a question. This was brought to my attention a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the answer to this because I'm assuming it was not in the executive order as it pertained to the restaurants and that type of stuff that Tate Reeves signed earlier in the week. But again, he did raise the capacity to 75%. They also are allowing self-serve drink stations statewide now. So if you go to like a South Depot or somewhere, you can fill your own drink up if you're at those places. Oxford's doing a little stricter guidelines on that. But my point being here is the justification on premium seating was following restaurant rules or enclosed seating. So does this mean that you would expect an executive order to allow 75%, not 50% in boxes, suites, and premium seating areas at stadiums?
Well, that's a good question.
Now, the executive order does not list that. It requires a different executive order, but wouldn't that be a normal train of thought? Because that was what that justification was built off of from a
well, the word normal really throws me off at this point. But, yeah, it makes sense if that's what you're asking.
I'm just asking a couple people real quick while we're doing the show.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. I don't know. I can find out. I'll got a couple of restaurant sources here in town.
Well, the restaurant for sure. I just don't know if that immediately moves or not.
I meant ticket people that I could ask. Sorry, I'm reading 2 things at once and trying to talk about one of the 2 things is never a great idea. Kanye West lost his mind today. I didn't see that. I don't know. So college basketball, we'll say this while you're doing that. Decent chance, I think, that we have a media opportunity with Kermit Davis tomorrow because of whatever this announcement is. I think the announcement that is coming is going to be a positive one. It's going to be the season scheduled to begin in late November, and they're going to play these tournaments that have been scheduled all over the place in the bubble in Orlando.
The bubble?
Well, at those buildings, yeah.
What are they guessing? The 24th of November? Is that right?
26th, I think. It's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, whatever that is.
Okay.
The logic is
the start of the season is then?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the first time. That's the first day you can play a game.
Okay. We'll see if we get an answer.
The logic is that the campuses are empty because the semesters are over. The kids go home, and they're gone for 2 months. So you basically have not quite 2 months of a bubble. That's the logic behind it.
We're discussing Chick-fil-A nuggets on our thread today. Yeah, I don't know. That would be a huge benefit to universities and schools as long as they could sell the tickets to get that extra 25%, because premium seating is where so much of the budget comes through at. That would be a substantial increase that would help. And I told you this morning. I just got a feeling. It's just kind of a hunch. I think that a lot of states are looking for reasons to open up. And again, this isn't about politics or whether they should or shouldn't. That's not my point. The point is governments, for the most part, in the South, look for reasons to open and increase the ability for citizens to go about their lives. So in that situation, cases appear to be falling. And actual cases, not even deaths or anything, but cases have been down here recently in Mississippi. Because of that, I think we get to 50% or higher in stadium capacity prior to the season. I think that, look, there are some things I don't like about it, and we'll get to that in a minute as far as the way Ole Miss has done pricing and some different things on tickets. But from a sheer month-to-month standpoint, game-to-game standpoint, I think that ends up being pretty smart because I'll be honest, I think they'll have the ability to sell more tickets as the season moves on should people be willing to buy them. I do not think we will finish the 2020 season at 25%.
I don't either.
I don't. I think it's higher than that. I don't know how higher. That's arbitrary, whatever, but I do think it's higher.
Well, here's my question. At what point, as you start to get through some weeks without incident, at what point can you admit, or will anyone admit that, hey, maybe it's okay? Maybe it's okay to go a little further. Is there a moment in time? Is there a number? Is there a metric? I keep asking people this. I can't get answers. What is there? Is there a positivity rate? What is it?
There is hope and optimism that is what that meant. That an executive order will follow the restaurant situation and increase premium seating. So
to 75%.
That is correct. Yes. Yeah, it would definitely follow whatever, because that was, even from the very beginning, not even when it was college football related, but when Tate first signed the executive order talking about stadiums and arenas, the justification in premium seating was basically do whatever the restaurants are because that's an enclosed food area. That was the way that was that's the way that was talked about. So that makes sense. Yeah, that's fine. Ole Miss still has a good many tickets available, frankly.
Is that right?
It has not gone as well as hoped, from best I can understand from talking to different people.
Why is that, do you think?
A lot of things. It's a really good question, and I think there's more than one answer there, because everybody had a ticket window. We've seen it all over the message board, all over Twitter, and the Ole Miss fan base. Basically, wherever you were in priority, you've had a spot to buy tickets for the Florida game, and then once we get into the next month, you'll buy tickets for the October games, and on and on and on and on. And I know there was a lot of tickets available through most of the window, way fewer than they expected to be by that point. And then they sent out an email yesterday saying, hey, a lot of tickets still available, basically no longer in priority. Everybody's kind of had their ability to buy now, and here's what's left over. And this is only the 16,000 or whatever the number is in the 25%. So they did not sell out even that allotment for the 25%. It's just expensive. And I understand why Ole Miss is doing it in a way. They're trying to get as much budget as they can early in the season because you never know what will happen, and it was the way they went about it. But tickets start. Now, it includes a parking pass, but not everybody needs or wants the extra expense of a parking pass. The tickets start at $115 a piece. The very beginning. Some people that typically their tickets are $100 and something or $300 and something. It's really expensive for a family to go to these games all of a sudden, even more expensive than it was. So you factor in just straight cost. Hey, are we going to go to this game? Are we going to go to that game? Are we going to try to go to all the games? Well, suddenly you're paying a whole lot more for season tickets, even at 5 games, than you would have been for the 7 prior to the old thing. And then, it's COVID. There's an economy thing. And not even necessarily dogging Ole Miss here. This is not even really a negative because a lot of schools are like this, but there's just not a lot of. Ole Miss did tell you, hey, you can opt in or out, and if you opt out, you can get a refund, you can send it to charity, or you can translate it to 2021. But it's there are arbitrary dates on when you have to do that past. There's a system in place for that, if that makes sense. And I do think there's a lot of people, season ticket holders, that just don't necessarily feel a connection to the school. You know what I mean? It feels corporate to them. It feels like, hey, how are they trying to help me out versus helping them out? And I think there's a balance there because, yeah, you got to pay some bills. You got to do some different things. But this is a season where even though we're worried so much about we're so much worried about budgets and how to get through the year, you don't need to piss a lot of fans off right now. You need to keep them in some way so when things turn around, they hang around, they feel some loyalty to you, something we've been talking about for a long time. And I don't know that that's the case right now. I mean, we got an email this morning. I don't know if did you get it too, from one of our buddies who basically had missed the date to opt out and just sent an Ole Miss thing and goes, hey, I'm going to opt out. Can I get my money back now? And they said it like 3 or 4 emails in a row. And every time Ole Miss basically sent the same email back going, hey, the opt-out's over. And it was kind of a form email. Like it was just, hey, ... And it was like,
yeah.
Okay, but it's one of those deals where while I get there have to be some arbitrary things at times, just help people out right now. Just go out of your way and help people out right now.
Better be good with customer service right now because you're going to battle something.
I'd rather get $1 for 50 years than $10 once.
Yeah,
I mean there's a lot of truth to that right now.
You're gonna battle something else. I mean, listen, there are going to be a lot of people who have been going to football games for years and years and years who don't go this year because they can't or decided not to. Who go, oh, this isn't so bad. This is kind of nice. Not everybody, probably not even most everybody, but there will be some. And if you add to that by, they weren't particularly helpful.
Yeah, the policy is good, but just the one-on-one, hey, I need a little bit of a help here, a little bit of a favor here, a little bit of whatever here. Is this exact seat okay? I've been sitting in this seat for 40 years. Just stuff where you just kind of feel important, and that's job one for colleges right now, all the way around, is connecting to your entire fan base. Every season ticket holder matters.
Yeah. Every
guy who just pays on StubHub or wherever for games 3 times a year matters. Obviously, your premium seating people matter. Everybody matters. And right now, you're battling a lot of different stuff. I mean, frankly, you hope it turns around. I mean, hell, we hope it turns around. The product hasn't been perfect the last few years on the field. Ole Miss has been going through a mess. I mean, we heard Michael and Ross talk forever about, hey, every day past the NCAA things, one more day past because fans went through hell with all that stuff. You got all that going on. The tickets are expensive all of a sudden. There's so many reasons to opt out right now that every little thing you can do to make somebody opt in or at least feel good about the process is very, very, very important because, I mean, it was all fun and games 10 years ago before, frankly, we put as much emphasis on some of these things as we do now. I mean, everybody makes fun of Pete Boone when, he doesn't care about the cap and T-shirt crowd. Well, Michael and Ross did a lot kind of in a way to act like they did. We got the surveys and all the different stuff. But it also turned pretty corporate during that era. It felt very, very big, very corporate.
Easy to do, yeah.
They started, frankly, the team started winning and tickets became a little more hard to get. I mean, there's a lot of reasons behind that. But, no, it didn't have a personal feel to it whatsoever. And I think that's one of Keith's challenges. I think that's their challenge over there right now is figuring out, hey, I know we got to pay some bills, but it's a pretty pivotal time. Our fan base is still not very far out from all that probation stuff. We haven't had a winning season since 2016 or 15 at this point. It's any one person you can help out. And you tell your people answering the phones, hey, we got to eat $1, eat it. Let's be nice right now and see what we come up with. And I think that's the frustration for a lot of people is just there are a set of guidelines, and the guidelines are good, but they do not appear to be overly flexible at the moment.
Again, my advice. No one's asking for it, but I'll give it. I'd be pretty nice to people. It's gonna be hard to get everybody to come back. And then people impacted financially from this. A lot of people impacted financially from this. I think the actual the whole people worried about catching the virus is way down the list of reasons that people don't go to the games. It's money. What's it going to feel like? You've already, no fault of their own, but they've taken the Grove away, which is a big part of the Ole Miss experience for a lot of fans. Whether it should or shouldn't be is another matter entirely, but, it is. It matters, and that's gone. Habits get broken in a year. I talked about that a little bit yesterday.
Oh, well, and you thought that was, kind of full circle there, why it was so important to keep an emphasis on keeping them in this year, because you let them out for any even 1 year and they buy the TV or they do the sit at home or they do the honey-do list, and suddenly, I know we've had this conversation 1,000 times, so I'm not going to go all the way down the road.
No, but I would have been, look, I'm not familiar with the money. I don't know what we're looking at, what they're talking about. I'd have to look at the books. And I understand raising the prices in an attempt to get the money and get whatever you can, but I probably would have been hand-raised guy in the room that said, if we can we eat a little bit? And maybe Ole Miss can't because of all that's happened.
Well, now, Ole Miss is in a different spot than everybody else, including Mississippi State. There is no reserve.
Right.
Most schools have reserves and go, okay, this is what we have to have, and frankly, it's when Ole Miss and Keith and said, hey, we need to go make sure we're in front of Tate Reeves and Thomas Dobbs and these people, because our needs are potentially different than State. And Tate has an allegiance to Mississippi State from a fandom standpoint. That just kind of is what it is. Hey, let's make sure when State goes in the room or whatever they ask for, let's make sure that aligns with us to some extent. I think that's very real. I think that's important. And I think it's something to teach. So, yeah, that definitely plays a role in here. I
was seeing if Thomas Dobbs has tweeted anything lately.
Okay.
I don't know why. I'm just kind of curious.
It feels 50% at least for November, for whatever reason. I don't know. It just does. Just kind of a hunch. Just the way. Even yesterday with this executive order and those changes, it didn't get talked about a ton. I haven't seen a ton of internet stuff about Tate extended some of those orders, but they were not insignificant. Even just the 10 people at a table versus 6 is a pretty significant statewide thing. So
he's been pretty quiet on Twitter.
Okay.
For kind of standing, he's kept it quiet. It's always interesting to me when the numbers get better, the people don't speak up. There doesn't seem to be any joy when the numbers get better. Like, I feel happiness when I see the numbers drop.
Yeah, the average case number way down over however period of time.
Yeah, and the deaths are plummeting, thank God. Yeah. I would have been tempted, Chase, to be the person in the room that says, if we raise prices, let's raise them as little as we can. We don't want to lose fans. We need them back in 2021 in droves. We don't need a lot of people figuring out that the at-home experience is pretty good.
COVID doesn't happen. Do you think the season tickets would have been really high?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Lane, excitement, different things.
COVID doesn't happen. I think Saturday, Ole Miss was scheduled to play Alabama. Mm-hmm. I think people would have been hanging off the light fixtures.
You do?
Yeah. Yeah, people were excited about Lane Kiffin.
Oh, we talked about it. Hey, where could it go? We thought it was going to be really, really high. We had thoughts. Hey, you get over 40,000, you get over whatever. Yeah, you'll have a deal. And maybe not. I don't know, but
yeah, I think it would have been packed. Mark Angelou's in the thread. He's talking about my thing about habits. He says, I normally watch 90% of the Cleveland Indians innings. I've watched very, very little. Mentions last night's game, but he says, and it's fine. It's what you don't want. If it goes away, not everybody comes back. That's just how that works. A lot of people do. Maybe most people do. Not everybody. I guarantee you, these NFL teams, Major League Baseball teams, a lot of people that have been on season ticket waiting list are going to get the call.
Oh, yeah.
Getting the call. Fans got away from it. Hey, I could use my money on elsewhere. It was nice to have this money in hand, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, you're trying to keep trying to keep every fan. You're trying to make sure that the younger generation wants to keep the older generation's tickets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dad's getting a little older. He can't quite do it anymore. But, hey, do we want to spend the money on these 2, these 4, these 6 tickets?
Yeah.
You know, can we stay on the 42-yard line where we've been for how many ever years? I mean, you know what I mean?
For a generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
This is my seat. What are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
Cool? Not cool? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Get away from it, and people kind of move on. By the way, that baseball game last night, I don't want to get into the Cubs won in the 9th, but that was so much fun to watch 2 superstars make superstar plays late in the game, even though the stadium was empty and whatever. But Javi Baez goes from first to home on essentially a bad throw.
Oh. Okay.
And then Frankie Lindor hits a 2-run homer in the 9th to tie the game. Just great players. Actually, last night, from a sports watching standpoint, was one of the best nights I can remember in a long time. The Cubs game was great, so exciting. But the NBA games, I know nobody wants us to do much of it, and I won't. But Heat Celtics game 1 was as good of a basketball game as you can ask for, with an ending that was dramatic. Jimmy Butler makes big bucket to give the Heat the lead. And then Bam Adebayo blocks Jason Tatum at the rim for the Heat to preserve a Game 1 win. And then
they came back from 14 down, won in overtime.
And then the Denver Nuggets
Pop the Clippers.
People who don't watch a lot of NBA got to see what those of us who do watch a lot of NBA see, which is Nikola Jokic, stud. Also, I have to give props here. I said I would to Carson McCready, who in October predicted the NBA Eastern Conference Finals would be Boston and Miami.
Oh.
And he predicted, more impressively, that the Western Conference Finals would be Denver and the Lakers.
Really?
He did. So, kudos.
Now, that's pretty impressive.
He watches a lot.
That is pretty
NBA.
impressive. Okay.
Laura last night kept saying, you need to go to bed. I'm like, it's in the 3rd quarter. He's not going to bed. Stop. Leave him alone.
He's going to be here a minute.
He's going to watch the end of that game.
That's funny. Well,
he came down today and reminded me.
Did he?
He goes, you do remember who I picked. And I had to think.
He's got a little Heat heartstrings about him, so he's in
like
a little bit.
He does like the Heat, and he likes Jokic, but that wasn't it. I think he thought those teams would do it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. You can check out Immune Support Med Packs. It's a combination of vitamins and supplements designed to boost your immune system and lung health. 30-day supply of vitamin C, zinc, NAC, probiotic, and vitamin D3. They work together to boost your immune system, lung health, GI regulation, immune regulation, and more. Pharmacists believe it's the best combination of over-the-counter supplements to prepare your body for any viruses. Stop by Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs or G&M on South Lamar in Oxford. Again, 662-236-2222.
Rebel fans, we're just a couple of weeks away, less than that actually, from the first Ole Miss football game of 2020, and our friends at Blue Delta Jeans want you to know they're here for your game day needs. Whether you are one of the lucky few to make it into Vaught-Hemingway this season or you plan to watch the game at home with a few socially distanced friends, a new pair of Blue Delta jeans are just what you need to look great, feel comfortable on Saturdays. Blue Delta's new line of 4-way stretch cotton pants come in 12 colors, including a great new powder blue for Ole Miss fans. Drop by the Oxford studio or DM Blue Delta at Blue Delta Jeans on their social media, or email info at bluedeltajeans.com. And remember, just because you won't be in the Grove this year doesn't mean you don't need to look your best for game day. We're also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust based in Madison, Mississippi. They're also home to the Pinnacle Trust 401k advisory services team. They can conduct a complimentary no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the Oxford Exxon podcast. You get 10% off your first year's fees. Also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. You guys know how this works by now. Get in touch with John, give him some parameters, give him a budget. He'll come up with options for your trip. Make it one that you will remember for a lifetime. And a lot of deals out there. as travel starts to open back up. Get in touch with them, 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. And we're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They have a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. It's about one little NBA note. There'll be a lot of Denver Nuggets fans over the next week and a half. A lot of people who don't give one damn.
Because of the Lakers?
Because of LeBron. People are LeBron'd out.
It's a growing list, isn't it?
It's a growing list. Whoever his publicist and marketing person is really letting him down. Or they're just simply unable to control him.
What's the beef with Lillard and all those guys?
Oh, with Paul George?
Yeah.
Well, so the Blazers are a fun team. They're a smart team. And those two guards, Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum, play with massive chips on their shoulder.
Okay.
And they both take a lot of pride in they've been in Portland their whole careers. And they're going to stay in Portland. Their deal is we're going to get it done in Portland. And they're very critical of guys that jump around. And when Paul George jumped from the Pacers to the Thunder and then signed a contract and then jumped from the Thunder to the Clippers, they said, hey, man, you're just chasing rings now. You're not willing to put the work in. You're not willing to put the grind in. You're just chasing a ring. And so last night, both Lillard and McCollum had said on Twitter, Lillard in particular, that the Clippers were chumps. The Clippers weren't going to win. And when the Nuggets did it, he just kind of
just started throwing a little.
Just threw some shade. Had his moment. Because when they got to Orlando, Paul George was one of the ones that was talking about, you guys are going home. Talking about the Blazers. I like Portland a little bit. I like that team. They have a little edge to them. And look, the Clips, here's reality. They sold their souls for this year. Didn't pay off. They traded Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, maybe 5 first-round picks, and Danilo Gallinari to the Thunder for Paul George so that they could get Kawhi. And a big portion of their window was this year, and it just closed some. And you can make up excuses, and you can do all the things that Doc Rivers and the Clippers did after last night. Everybody else is in the bubble too. The bubble was distracting. The bubble was hard. Well, Denver's been away.
Everybody in the bubble.
I mean, something tells me that the Denver players are like, hey, we've been here a while too.
Yeah.
Denver, the first team in NBA history to come back from back-to-back 3-1 deficits.
6-0 in elimination games so far in the
They're really good. They're really good. Michael Malone's a underrated coach, and Murray's a terrific point guard, and they're a team that makes a lot of sense. They just might give the Lakers some fits.
We'll have college football picks tomorrow in Nils Picks. NFL-wise, you mentioned the Thursday night game. It's not exactly a looker. Cincinnati at Cleveland is your Thursday night game.
You know what? That game's so ugly that you'll watch.
Ew.
Like, we'll put that on in here and just.
What are other options?
I don't know, but I do want to see Burrow play.
Okay, that's fair. He's the redeeming quality in this.
Yeah.
They played okay. They lost, but they played okay.
Yeah.
In week 1, Cleveland. Whoa, is this right? I've got Cleveland as a 6-point favorite.
How?
I don't know. I'm just staring at the screen.
Okay.
Am I right here? Yeah. I don't know. That's what it says. It says Cleveland -6. It said it opened at 8.5.
Huh. Where's the game?
Cleveland. But, I mean, who cares? There's nobody anywhere.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. What difference does that make?
Isn't that funny how you're not used to that yet?
Yeah,
You're still like, where's the game?
Yeah,
now, like, what difference does it make?
Rams at Philadelphia is this week. Philadelphia, this thing opened with the Eagles a 4.5-point favorite. The Rams have moved to a point. This is in picks?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't looked yet. So, Tom Brady getting his first home game. Speaking of home teams, they play Carolina. They are 9.5-point favorites over the Panthers on Sunday.
That's a lot of points.
A lot of points.
Given what I saw Sunday.
Yeah. Let's see. Really critical week 2 game if either one of these teams are going to be something. Atlanta at Dallas. It's an interesting week 2 game for somebody not to go 0-2, it feels like. I mean, Dallas has higher aspirations, I think, than the Falcons.
I was going to say, having watched the Falcons a little the other now, they were playing a good team.
Yeah, but Seattle popped them.
But they didn't look like a contender.
No, they did not.
And frankly, neither did Dallas. Neither did the Rams.
No, they were just okay. The NFC didn't look as complicated for whatever reason. It was week 1. We're doing the overreaction thing, but it was.
Yeah, but I know who looked good.
Yeah.
Seattle looked good.
They did. They did look good. Green Bay looked good.
Green Bay looked good. The Saints looked good.
Yeah, they were fine.
Yeah, they were good. You're watching with the critical eye. They were good. They have things to work on for sure and some weaknesses, but they generally looked pretty good. I know San Francisco lost, but they didn't look so bad. Arizona looked okay. I mean, there were some bright spots for people, and then there were some trouble spots.
Really ugly game on Sunday. Your Chicago Bears host the New York Football Giants on Sunday.
I think it's got a chance to be beautiful.
5-point favorites for the Bears.
Yeah, 5.5 in picks.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Glad we get you that extra half point.
It's not very often that we get to say we have the best quarterback in that game.
You do in that one, though, don't you?
We've got an advantage at quarterback.
Oh, gosh. Let's see. What else is interesting? Not much. If Houston, kind of important week 2 game for them. Talk about a tough early schedule. The first 2 weeks of the year, they play Kansas City and Baltimore. Is how they open. And neither one of them are division games. It's just luck of the draw on who you got.
Yeah.
So they get them. The Saints, again, are in Vegas for a Monday night game. That is the Saints by 5.5.
Are there any fans allowed in Vegas? Or NFL's no fans right now?
No, some places are. Kansas City had
14,000.
Yeah. Jacksonville had fans last week.
This is the thing that bothers me.
Okay.
Casinos are open.
Yes.
But not an NFL stadium.
That is correct.
But why? That fly's coming to get you.
He's all over the place. Yeah, I need chopsticks like Mr. Miyagi.
Oh, that would be impressive.
It would, wouldn't it? Carly Ann can catch flies with her fingers.
Really?
Mm-hmm. No, seriously.
Wow.
Yeah, she can. She can get up on a fly and grab it.
Need to get a fly swatter in the studio.
Yeah, she'll literally be holding. It's kind of gross, but she'll hold flies between her fingers. But look what I got.
That's impressive. That's some hand-eye coordination.
I told you she's incredibly athletic. It's the best way I know she's not mine because she's the most athletic kid I've ever seen. But
you put a bat in her hands yet?
We're really close to golf clubs and tennis rackets and see where it goes. That's the. I think that's
smart.
I think that's the goal is to at least start out with golf clubs and tennis rackets. And we've done equestrian. She got kicked out. Didn't go. She likes horses, loves horses, but was a little too young at the time. And you don't need to get stomped on by a horse. So it was kind of one of those deals where hey, we love you, but come back in a year when she's not great on taking turns and staying in line yet. So we're still a bit away from the.
It's a common refrain.
Yeah,
for a lot of people.
This fly will not go away.
I know there was a giant. I do mean giant moth got in the house this morning, and I had to chase it around.
Churches are having to rent casino meeting spaces to hold services. Well, that's an interesting note. I didn't know that.
But still, if you can put an assemblage of people into a place, why can't you put an assemblage of people into a football stadium? Like, for example, they're going to play these Major League Baseball games in a bubble after the first round. Some of them in Texas. You can put fans in the stands in Texas. Why can't you put fans in the stands at a playoff game? I don't understand a lot of the rules. I mean, I legitimately have questions.
A thing here that could actually be relevant. And I don't have the executive order up in front of me, but I was watching the meeting last night, and I caught a good bit of the Oxford changes. In the state, they have different rules for if you can social distance versus not being able to social distance inside and outside. And I don't remember all the numbers, but if you can social distance, it was up pretty high. It was like 100 maybe outside is what you could do. This could have some relevance later in the month because you can't tailgate on campus. You can't tailgate in the Grove, as you mentioned a minute ago. So I'm assuming there'll be some people that try to have gatherings or tailgates at their homes. And if you're in the city limits, I guess the county would do either their own interpretation of the state law, but in the city, it's indoors 10 people, outdoors 25. So just a heads up there, because I would assume that could actually be a problem if you're downtown or somewhere at a residence that has some open roads and whatnot where that's seen.
I feel sorry for the police officers that have to try to enforce this.
Yeah, now they're put in a weird spot. Yeah,
a lot of them, I'm going to guess, their heart's not in it. And they're having to be the bad guy for rules that are kind of nonsensical.
Well, and once you I would assume you probably have to be breaking it by a pretty good bit. Because, otherwise, like the cop go, okay, 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? Like, are you going 18, 19? Oh, 23. Have a good day. Like,
yeah, I mean,
27.
Who wants to do that? And again, what's the science of 25? Can the virus count to 25? What if it's just 24? Are they safer than they would be if there was one more person?
It sounded for a while like they were going to go with state law, and then it just kind of trickled last night. Like I said, I watched a pretty good bit of the meeting. I guess it kind of suggests those are kind of fascinating in a way.
Yeah.
Just protocol wise, just kind of how
just watching people in those
how
deals.
it kind of moves and goes and does. Let's get your U.S. Open picks for the week. I know you probably got like a rundown of what 20, 25 people.
Yeah, let me think about that for just a minute.
Got your eyes on people?
Yeah, let me think about it for a minute while I'm reading a couple of ads here. This podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with a personal touch. When you call OUB, you speak directly with a live person, no 10 buttons to push, no 5 minutes to wait. So live Oxford, bankoxford.com or 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. Also brought to you by Bluff City Advisory Group, dedicated to building the future you desire. Founded in 2018, their team is comprised of established and seasoned financial experts who came together to serve individuals and families of their beloved hometown. They do great work. If you're there in or around Memphis, highly recommend that you get in touch with the people at Bluff City. 901-365-3447 or email Ben, B-E-N, at bluffcityadvisory.com. I mentioned my mailbag. It's up today. Whitney McNutt, Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors makes that possible, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells land, commercial and residential family homes, and you can reach her at 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844. And we're brought to you by the law firm of Bain, Moss, and Bowen. Located in historic downtown Corinth, their firm practices a wider range of law from DUI defense to car wrecks to representing government entities. It's the only firm in Mississippi made up of a sitting state legislator, a former district attorney, and a former circuit judge. Their experience is unmatched in that regard, and you can tap 7-16-20. So, U.S. Open is this weekend?
It is.
Okay.
This week, yeah. Starts tomorrow. Yep.
I know what you'll be doing.
At Wingfoot. It's in what state?
Winged Foot.
Yes.
Wisconsin.
No.
New York.
That's correct.
Oh.
Yes. It is in New York.
There you go.
It was last at Wingfoot in 2006 when Phil Mickelson had a lead going to the final hole to win the U.S. Open and complete, where actually at the time he wouldn't have completed it, but now would have completed the career Grand Slam. He double buggied the hole and lost, did not even get into a playoff. He is a 6-time U.S. Open runner-up. He has finished second 6 times. Never won it.
Let's see. I'm pulling up some picks.
Okay, in golf?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Who am I going with? Pulled up a model that's calling for Tiger Woods to win.
Tiger is the Alabama football person who it always attracts the most money just because. So actually, the books would be hit pretty hard because OEP is 40-1. This is not set up well for Tiger. He's 40-1 to win as of right now.
Colin Morikawa.
He won the PGA Championship, really young, 22 years old, I think.
So here are some. These are odds via William Hill. I don't know who William Hill is. Dustin Johnson is 17-2.
Yep.
So
he's playing really well right now and won the FedEx Cup.
John Rahm, who I've been really following lately, is 10-1. Justin Thomas is 14-1.
You skipped. There you go. All right, here's another 14-1. Can you get this name correct?
Xander Schauffele.
Good job. Yeah.
Is 16-1.
All right.
Rory McIlroy 16-1. We mentioned Morikawa. Bryson DeChambeau 22-1. Webb Simpson 28-1. Daniel Berger, Patrick Cantlay 30-1. Hideki Matsuyama used to play for the Yankees 33-1. Tony Finau 35-1, as is Tommy Fleetwood. Jason Day, Adam Scott, Patrick Reed, all 40-1. Tyrell Hatton, I don't know that name, 45-1.
Tyrrell Hatton.
Tyrrell, okay. Tiger Woods 50-1, and then let's see, among other notables, Ricky Fowler, Justin Rose, Paul Casey, all 55-1. Shane Lowry 80-1. Phil Mickelson 80-1. Sergio Garcia 80-1. Henrik Stenson 100-1, as is Billy Werschel, Siwoo Kim, Matt Kuchar, Bubba Watson, Kevin Kisner, and then everybody else. More than 100-1 odds to win the U.S. Open.
Okay. Some better. The largest individual bet so far is on Phil Mickelson. Somebody put $45,000 on Mickelson to win the tournament. That would net $3.375 million should he win. Not exactly a very good bet.
Yeah, I think Phil's window's probably closed.
Phil's 50 now. He's eligible for the Champions Tour. He's played one Champions Tour event and he won that one. So
50's old.
Now he's not fair out there with those guys. He's going to win more often than not out there with the 50 and up crowd.
Is he going to play on that?
I don't know how much he's going to play. He's played once. He shot like 61 or 62 the first day and won the tournament by like 6.
Yeah.
Because
he still probably thinks he's got one magic moment left in him, don't you think?
Let's give it a shot. I mean, he would trade at least another master. He would trade one of his masters, or maybe even 2 of them, for a U.S. Open to complete the Grand Slam. There's no doubt about that. I mean,
sure.
You finish second in a tournament 6 times. That'll keep you up at night a little bit. Now, Wingfoot's the only one where it was just a utter collapse. But I mean, again, par wins the tournament, bogey makes a playoff, and he double bogeys and loses by 1.
God, that would be brutal.
Have you ever seen the video? At some point, watch the video because it's almost painful to watch. He should have just hit 3-wood down there somewhere, just made it really easy. He hits driver way left. But even then, it's, hey, you're the best short game player in the world at the time. Just hit the damn thing back out in the fairway. Put it on the green.
I remember this.
Bogey.
And he tried to kind of make a hero shot.
He tried to hit a hero shot, ends up screwing it up, and then double bogeys. Instead of just, you would have guaranteed the 5. And then you still would have had a putt for a 4 in the win. So, yeah, yeah. Look, I mean, I'm not going to stay on this more than 10 seconds. The Champions Tour, though, if you're just a big golf fan, is at least sort of interesting right now because of the guys that are going to turn 50, where it's kind of wondering, like Jim Furyk, Justin Leonard, Phil Mickelson, guys like that, where it's Ernie Els. Just kind of interesting right now if you're really a junkie and you got a little care there.
I won't get back on COVID. We're basically done. But Sammy in our thread, Sammy Nishi says, and this is what drives me crazy. Here in Vegas, the bug is so smart that it does not enter a movie theater. It waits outside in the lobby since nobody in the theater wears a mask.
Hang on, what's the rule?
You don't have to wear a mask. You have to wear a mask in the lobby it's also freaking arbitrary.
Going full circle right here as we talked about tickets and different things. Keith Carter says they're trying to find out about the premium seating thing. However, the expectation is that nothing will happen prior to the first game. So maybe after that, I don't know, but we'll see. But as of the moment, that is what's out there. So we'll see what comes of it. I would assume though that gets changed. I just can't see that lasting more than 1 week because I don't know. Justin Leonard is 48, so Leonard is getting somebody else in the live stream. Yeah, Leonard's 48, so he's about a year and a half away from having Champions Tour status. So anyway, tomorrow night is our next show. We'll have a live show for you then. Plenty of content at rebelgrove.com, and we'll be with you again. Got some other features for you coming your way. Still working on some things as football season nears. We are 10 days away from Ole Miss and Florida. So have a good day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.